What if I told you you're only one disaster away from being homeless? How much is in your bank account right now? Enough for 1 month's rent? 2? What happens when that runs out? If America is so wealthy, why are its biggest cities drowning in poverty? Why are families sleeping in cars while billionaires build rockets to Mars? Why is it that in a country of opportunity, millions of people are losing everything overnight? They worked hard, they did everything right, so why are they on the streets? She had Section 8, she had a home for 6 years, but now she sleeps on the streets. Homelessness isn't just rising, it's booming. And here's what no one wants to admit. It could happen to you. 1 rent increase, 1 medical bill, 1 layoff. That's all it takes. If you think you're safe, think again. This is bigger than bad luck. It's a system designed to keep you 1 step away from losing everything. And if you want to understand who's really behind this crisis and why no one is stopping it, stick with me. And if you're new here, subscribe, because this is the kind of truth they don't want you to hear. First up, let's talk about New York City. New York City, the land of dreams. 8 million people, a melting pot of ambition, skyscrapers scraping the heavens, Fortune 500 headquarters, the rich get richer, thousands of millionaires, hundreds of billionaires. But look a little closer and you'll see the cracks. New York isn't just the wealthiest city in America, it's also the capital of homelessness. 1,5,8,0,0 people with nowhere to go. More than 500,000 of them are children. 1 in 5 New Yorkers, they depend entirely on food banks to survive. The Big Apple is rotting, and the worst part, the system that promised to help them has abandoned them. James Carter used to be just like you, a job, a family, a home. He wasn't rich, but he was making it work, paying his rent on time, working at a warehouse, providing for his daughter, until 1 layoff changed everything. He thought it would be temporary, he says, just a setback. But then, his landlord raised the rent, the city cut funding to housing programs, shelters were full, and just like that, he was out. Now, James and his 7-year-old daughter sleep in Penn Station. He goes to job interviews in the morning, but who wants to hire a man with no address? At night, he watches over his daughter like a hawk. 1 wrong move and she could disappear forever. This isn't an isolated case, this is New York in 2025, and if James can fall this far, how safe do you really think you are? But wait, New York is one of the richest cities on earth, so where's the money? Why are billionaires getting tax breaks while families sleep in freezing shelters? Why are thousands of apartments sitting empty while people die on the streets? The truth? The cost of living has skyrocketed beyond control. The average rent in NYC, over $4,500 a month. The cost of food, up 30% in just 2 years. Minimum wage, nowhere near enough to keep up. For many, homelessness isn't a choice, it's an inevitability, and it's not getting better, it's getting worse. The government solution? More evictions, more shelters filled beyond capacity, more people left to die in the cold. New York is drowning, and no one is coming to save them. If you think this can't happen to you, think again, because James, he thought the same thing, and tomorrow another family will face the same fate. So what's really causing this crisis? And which city is next? Stay with me because this story is far from over. Number 2, Los Angeles. Los Angeles, the city of stars, where dreams are made, fortunes are built, and the rich live in unimaginable luxury, but behind the glitz, the glamour, and the million-dollar mansions is a crisis spiraling out of control. Because just miles from the Hollywood Hills, tents line the sidewalks like a never-ending scar across the city. Los Angeles has become a battlefield. Over 75,000 people are now homeless in LA County. That's a 17% increase in just 1 year. Entire families living out of their cars. Young kids forced to navigate a world of danger. The city that once symbolized hope and success is now a graveyard of broken dreams. And if you think it couldn't get worse, you're wrong. Maria Ramirez had never been rich, but she had a home, a job, and a plan. She worked as a waitress in downtown LA, saving every penny, dreaming of a better life for her 10-year-old son, Miguel. But then, The rent increased. Then again and again, her landlord gave her a notice: pay $3,000 this month or leave. How? Her paycheck wasn't even half of that. Maria tried to find something cheaper, but in LA, cheap doesn't exist anymore. Before she knew it, she was out. For weeks, they slept in her car. Miguel still went to school. He told his friends his house was getting remodeled because the truth was too humiliating. Maria worked double shifts, hoping, praying to scrape enough together for a deposit on a new place. But then one night, she woke up to a knock on the window. A police officer. "This is private property," he said. "You can't sleep here." She begged. She had nowhere else to go, but the law didn't care. Maria's story isn't rare. In fact, it's becoming the norm. Rent in Los Angeles averaging over $3,000 a month. A one-bedroom apartment can cost more than an entire house in other states. A minimum wage, not even close to keeping up. And the worst part, there are more empty homes in LA than there are homeless people. Let that sink in. While wealthy investors buy up property and let it sit vacant, tens of thousands of people sleep under bridges. The government solution? Sweeps. That's right, instead of fixing the problem, they bulldoze homeless encampments, throw away people's only belongings, and pretend the issue doesn't exist. Los Angeles isn't solving homelessness, it's criminalizing it. And as the cost of living keeps rising, more and more people are falling into the abyss. Here's the truth: Los Angeles isn't failing to fix homelessness, it's profiting from it. Think about it. Billions of dollars are poured into homeless programs every year, yet the crisis only gets worse. Where does the money go? Why are the numbers rising instead of falling? And most importantly, if Los Angeles has collapsed this badly, which city is next? Stay with me, because the next city on this list might shock you even more. If you're new here, subscribe, because we're exposing the truth the mainstream media won't touch. And if this video is hitting you hard, smash that like button so YouTube pushes it out to more people. Because this isn't just an LA problem, it's a ticking time bomb. And what happens when it explodes? That's what we uncover next. All right, let's talk San Francisco, the tech capital of the world. A city where billion-dollar startups are born, where CEOs drive Teslas, and where the tech elite sip $20 lattes in rooftop cafes. But if you take just one wrong turn, you'll see a different San Francisco, a city where human suffering is now an everyday sight, where entire streets are lined with tents, where sidewalks are filled with people not shopping but struggling to survive. Because behind the glamour of Silicon Valley, San Francisco is collapsing. And if you think it's bad now, just wait. Over 3,800 people in the Bay Area are now homeless. San Francisco alone has more homeless people per capita than nearly any US. In some areas, crime, drug use, and open-air suffering have become so severe that businesses are closing their doors forever. And the worst part? The cost of living is higher than ever. The median home price, $1,200,000. A one-bedroom apartment, nearly $4,000 per month. Even with a six-figure salary, some people still struggle to afford rent. But if people with decent jobs can barely survive, what happens to those who lose everything? Meet Daniel. Daniel wasn't always homeless. In fact, just 2 years ago, he had everything. A steady job in IT, a nice apartment in the Mission District, a savings account with enough for a rainy day. But when layoffs hit the tech industry, his entire world shattered overnight. First, he lost his job. Then, with no income, his savings disappeared faster than he ever imagined. Rent was $3,800 a month, too high. He had to leave. At first, he crashed with friends. Then, he lived out of his car. But when parking restrictions made that impossible, he ended up here. "I never thought this would be my life," he says, his voice shaking. He still applies for jobs every day. He still tries. But when you don't have an address, a shower, or even clean clothes for an interview, who's gonna hire you? Daniel isn't an addict. He isn't lazy. He's just stuck. In San Francisco, it has no place for people like him anymore. The most shocking part? San Francisco spends over $1 billion every year on homeless solutions. Yet the problem just keeps getting worse. Why? Because homelessness is an industry. Instead of fixing the crisis, the city profits from it. Luxury apartment developers keep driving up prices. Big corporations keep making millions while the people who built this city are thrown to the streets. And what's the government's solution? Crime ignored. Encampments bulldozed. People like Daniel forgotten. And if nothing changes, San Francisco will become a city where only two kinds of people exist: the ultra-rich and the utterly destitute. If you think San Francisco is bad, the next city on this list will leave you speechless. Because this crisis isn't slowing down, it's spreading. Are we watching the collapse of America's greatest cities? Or is there still time to fix it? Drop a comment below. Do you think San Francisco can recover? Or is this city too far gone? Smash that like button so YouTube pushes this to more people, because if we don't talk about this now, we won't have a country left to save. Next up, Las Vegas. A city where dreams are gambled and fortunes are won overnight. But what happens to the people who lose? Because beneath the neon glow and million-dollar jackpots, there's another Vegas. A Vegas hidden from tourists. A Vegas where people don't live in luxury hotels, they live underground. Yes, you heard that right. Thousands of homeless people live beneath this city. In the tunnels, in the sewers, in total darkness. And the worst part, many of them used to be just like you. Over 6,500 people are officially homeless in Las Vegas, but experts say the real number is much higher. 1,500 of them live in underground sewer tunnels right beneath the strip. Rent prices have skyrocketed. A one-bedroom apartment costs over $1,500 a month. For a city built on wealth, why are so many people sleeping in filth? And that brings us to Jason wasn't always homeless. He came to Vegas chasing a dream just like millions of others. He worked as a bartender at a high-end casino. The tips were great, and for a while, life was good. But then, the pandemic hit. The casino shut down, the tourists disappeared, and Jason, he lost his job overnight. He burned through his savings. Rent was due. He begged his landlord for time, but time wasn't for sale. One eviction notice later, he had nowhere to go. At first, he slept in his car. Then, when the gas ran out, he wandered the streets. And finally, he found himself in the tunnels. "I never thought I'd end up here," he says, his voice hollow. "There are rats, floods, and worse, but at least it's quiet." Jason is just one of the thousands living in Vegas's underground world, a world that most people don't even know exists. Las Vegas was built on the promise of opportunity. But for too many people, that promise is a lie. Billion-dollar casinos keep making record profits. The rich get richer. The cost of living keeps rising, and the homeless pushed further into the darkness. And if things keep going this way, soon Las Vegas won't just be a city of gamblers. It'll be a city of ghosts. Number 5, San Diego. A crisis is growing. A crisis that's turning America's finest city into a nightmare for thousands. Because while tourists sip cocktails on rooftop bars, over 1,000,000 people have no home. And every day, that number is rising. How did it come to this? How did a city known for its beauty become one of America's worst places to be homeless? Stay with me, the answer will shock you. San Diego isn't just a vacation hotspot, it's also one of the most expensive places to live in the US. Here's what most people don't realize. Average rent, over $2,700 a month for a one-bedroom apartment. Minimum wage, just $16.85 an hour. Homeless population, over 1,000 people, and that's just the official count. With rent skyrocketing and wages failing to keep up, even people with jobs are ending up on the streets. And once you're homeless in San Diego, and it's almost impossible to escape. Why? Because the city is actively pushing homeless people out. Lisa never thought she'd be homeless. She worked as a nurse's assistant, raising her 7-year-old son, Danny. She paid her bills, she did everything right, but then her rent went up by $800 overnight. She tried to negotiate, she tried to find a second job, she begged for time. Her landlord gave her 1 month. 30 days later, Lisa and Danny were sleeping in their car. And when the car broke down, the street became their only option. Lisa still takes Danny to school every morning. He pretends everything is normal, but at night, they curl up under a blanket behind a gas station. This isn't just a story, this is real, this is happening right now. San Diego's government says they're tackling homelessness. But here's what's actually happening. They're forcing homeless people out of tourist areas, not helping them. They've banned sleeping in cars overnight, but offer no real housing solutions. They clear out tent cities only for new ones to pop up the next day. Instead of fixing the problem, they're just hiding it. And here's the real question, where are these people supposed to go? San Diego's crisis is out of control, but the next city on this list, it's even worse. Because what's happening there proves this isn't just a city problem, it's a national disaster. And if nothing changes, this could be your city next. Do you think San Diego is handling this crisis the right way, or is this city doomed? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you're new here, subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Smash that like button, because if we don't talk about this, who will? Just when you think it couldn't get worse, we arrive at a place where the situation takes a shocking turn. Welcome to Denver. How did Denver, a city known for its prosperity, reach this tipping point? Stay with us as we uncover the startling truths behind Denver's homelessness epidemic. Recent data paints a grim picture. Record high homelessness. In 2024, the Denver metro area reported a 10% increase in homelessness, totaling 9,977 individuals. Families in crisis. The number of families experiencing homelessness surged from 2,101 in 2023 to 3,136 in 2024, a staggering 50% increase. Affordable housing shortfall. Denver faces a deficit of 1,314,823,930 housing units, exacerbating the crisis. These numbers aren't just statistics, they represent real people facing unimaginable hardships. Sarah, a lifelong Denver resident, worked as a school teacher for over a decade. She loved her job and took pride in shaping young minds. But as housing costs soared, her modest salary couldn't keep up. When her rent increased by $500 a month, Sarah was forced to make impossible choices. She cut back on essentials, took on extra work, but eventually it wasn't enough. Eviction followed, and Sarah found herself living in her car, the very streets she once drove to work becoming her new reality. I never imagined this could happen to me, Sarah shares, tears in her eyes. Denver was my home, my community. Now it's a daily struggle to survive. Sarah's story is a poignant reminder that homelessness can affect anyone, regardless of background or profession. Several factors have converged to create this crisis. Skyrocketing housing costs. Over the past 8 years, the cost of purchasing a home in Denver has increased by 105%, while average hourly wages have only risen by 37%. Economic disparities. The gap between housing costs and wages has left many unable to afford basic living expenses. Policy challenges. Despite increased spending to address homelessness, the population continues to grow, indicating systemic issues. Denver has initiated several programs to address homelessness. Basic Income Pilot, the city provided direct cash payments to individuals experiencing homelessness, resulting in approximately 45% of participants securing housing within a year. Affordable housing initiatives. Policies like the Expanding Housing Affordability aim to ensure new developments include affordable units. While these efforts show promise, the escalating numbers suggest more comprehensive solutions are needed. Denver stands at a crossroads. The city's response to this crisis will determine its future. Will it implement effective solutions to provide affordable housing and support for its residents, or will the homelessness epidemic continue to rise? We want to hear from you. What steps do you believe Denver should take to address this crisis? Have you witnessed the impact of homelessness in your community? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Smash that like button to help raise awareness about Denver's homelessness crisis. Together, we can shed light on this pressing issue and work towards meaningful change. Not long ago, this place was thriving. Now, it's a different story entirely. Welcome to San Jose. San Jose isn't just facing a crisis, it's drowning in it. Over 6,340 people are experiencing homelessness, a 40% increase since 2019, and San Jose has the highest median home price in the US, a jaw-dropping $1,400,000. A family would need to earn $373,000 per year to afford a typical home, 9 times the median household income. Rent for a 1-bedroom apartment, a staggering $3,000 per month. These numbers paint a clear picture. If you're not already wealthy, San Jose is nearly impossible to afford. Jason wasn't lazy. He wasn't irresponsible. He spent 15 years working as an IT specialist for a mid-sized firm. He made decent money, paid his bills on time, and lived modestly. But in 2023, his company downsized. Jason was let go. With rent at $2,800 a month and no immediate job prospects, his savings evaporated in 6 months. He applied for hundreds of jobs, but kept getting rejected. His experience couldn't compete with younger applicants willing to work for less. The eviction notice came swiftly. Jason now lives in an RV parked on the outskirts of San Jose, using public restrooms to clean up before job interviews. He never imagined this would be his reality. I used to walk past homeless camps and think that could never be me. Now I live in one. Jason's story is not unique. It's the new normal for thousands of San Jose residents, people who did everything right but still fell through the cracks. The homelessness crisis in San Jose is not a mystery, it's the direct result of a broken system. Skyrocketing home prices, wealthy tech employees drive up demand, forcing prices beyond reach for middle-class workers. Housing shortages, strict zoning laws prevent new affordable housing projects from being built fast enough. Lack of rent control. Unlike other major cities, San Jose offers minimal tenant protections, leading to frequent evictions. Even full-time workers in San Jose are ending up on the streets. San Jose has tried to address the issue, but progress is slow. New tiny home shelters. The city has built 500 tiny homes, but with over 6,000 homeless residents, it barely scratches the surface. Cash assistance programs. Some residents receive financial aid, but it's often too little, too late. Affordable housing projects. Developers are building new units, but they take years to complete, leaving thousands in limbo. While these programs help some, the crisis is escalating faster than the solutions. This is one of the richest cities in America, yet thousands of people sleep in cars, tents, and shelters every night. So now we ask you, what's the solution? Should the government enforce rent control? Should tech companies take responsibility for the housing crisis they helped create? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you think this information is important, smash that like button so more people can see what's really happening in America's wealthiest cities. If history has taught us anything, it's that no nation is immune to collapse. Oakland is proof of that. Oakland, a city known for its rich history, diverse culture, and resilient spirit. But beneath the vibrancy lies a growing crisis no one can ignore. Homelessness here is exploding. Over 5,000 people sleep on the streets every night, a 50% increase in just 5 years. Rental prices have soared by nearly 70% in the last decade, pushing low-income residents out of their homes, and they're buying homes just to accommodate the new rent. Oakland now has one of the highest homelessness rates per capita in California. How did it get this bad? Oakland's crisis didn't happen overnight. As San Francisco's housing market became unaffordable, many sought refuge in Oakland, only for prices to skyrocket here too. Now, the city is desperately short on affordable housing, forcing thousands into makeshift tent communities. Many lack running water, electricity, or even basic sanitation. Meet Angela, a former preschool teacher who lost her apartment when rent jumped 30% in 1 year. She now lives in a car with her 2 children. I still have a job, she says, but rent is impossible. My paycheck barely covers food and gas. So what should be done? Should the city enforce rent caps? Build more shelters? Tell us in the comments. And if you think this crisis needs attention, smash that like button so more people wake up to what's happening. Stay tuned because the next city on this list might be even worse. How does a nation go from prosperity to poverty? In Sacramento, the answer is shocking. Despite being ranked one of the most livable cities in California, Sacramento is struggling to house its own residents. The cost of living has skyrocketed, pushing thousands onto the streets. City officials have poured millions into shelters and affordable housing programs, but it's not enough. The demand is too high and every shelter bed is already taken. Homelessness here is spiraling out of control and the numbers are staggering. More than 9,200 people are currently homeless in Sacramento, a 67% increase in just 3 years. Nearly 2,000 people are living unsheltered in cars, tents, or even along the riverbanks. The city spends over $50 million a year on homelessness services, yet the crisis only worsens. How did California's capital reach this breaking point? Meet James, a 52-year-old former construction worker. I worked my whole life, paid my bills, raised 2 kids, and then I got injured. The medical bills wiped me out. My landlord raised the rent. I lost my home. Now James sleeps under a bridge near the American River. His story isn't unique, it's becoming the norm. So Sacramento is trying, but is it enough? Should the government take more aggressive action? What would you do to fix this crisis? Drop your thoughts in the comments. What happens when an economy crumbles and people have nowhere to turn? Just look at Phoenix. Is it bad luck or is the system designed to keep people down? Some say homelessness is a personal failure, bad choices, laziness, addiction. But if that's true, why are thousands of working people ending up on the streets? Why are families, veterans, and former homeowners now living in tents under freeway overpasses? Why is Phoenix's homelessness crisis exploding? The numbers don't lie. Over 9,000 people in Maricopa County are homeless, a 70% surge in just 5 years. 60% of them are unsheltered, suffering in Arizona's deadly heat. Last year, 645 homeless individuals died from heat exposure, the highest number in the nation. Phoenix is one of America's fastest growing cities, but for many, it's becoming unlivable. The cost of living is out of control. The median rent, over $1,800. Home prices, $450,000 and rising. Minimum wage, just $14.35. For many, working full-time still isn't enough to afford housing. And when rent spikes by hundreds of dollars overnight, what do? Meet Angela, a 38-year-old mother of 2. I had a job, I had a car, I was doing everything right. But then my rent went up $600 in 1 year. I couldn't afford it. My kids and I had nowhere to go, she said. At first, she found shelter in a friend's garage, then in her car, and then she lost that too. I had Section 8, I had a home for 6 years, now I sleep on the streets. The worst thing in the world is being homeless. Angela's story isn't unique. Families, veterans, former professionals, the streets of Phoenix are filled with people who never thought they'd end up here. The city has expanded shelters and housing assistance, but is it enough? Some argue more funding is needed. Others claim government policies are making the crisis worse. So what do you think? Should Phoenix build more shelters or change its housing laws? Drop your opinion in the comments. And if you think more people need to hear about this, smash that like button, because what's happening in Phoenix, it's a warning for every growing city in America. Before you scroll away, ask yourself, could you survive losing everything?